Hey there, Cowboys fans. Hope you're enjoying your NFL Sunday. But we've got some rumors to discuss around the Dallas Cowboys as they get ready for, in theory, a game against the Baltimore Ravens. We'll get to that later on here. But we're going to dive in first up with Zack Martin. Is his season over for the Cowboys? I'm going to give it 3 stars. If I were in charge, I think I'd just IR him and call it a season here. He suffered a calf injury against Washington. He is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks. And with that timing, I mean, he's probably going to go on IR. And then at that point, what are really the benefits for him returning later? You win a game that's meaningless. You are still technically alive in the postseason race. When we get to week 16, you bring him back and you probably still lose. I'm looking at this remaining schedule. And regardless of what this Ravens game ends up looking like, even if RG3 is out there, I still think Baltimore wins that game. You might be able to beat the Bengals. The Niners, who knows? And the Eagles and Giants are bad, but I mean, at that point, you're hoping for a 5 or 6 win season, best case. I'm not really all that interested. So as bad as this offensive line is, I say you just sit Zack Martin. There's no reason trying to rush him back from a calf injury, which he clearly has already re-aggravated once. And I know this offensive line is gross, and it is disgusting, and that is not the group we are accustomed to seeing out there for the Cowboys, but I say sit him for the rest of the year. I don't really see a lot of benefits beyond winning games late in the season, and I guess maybe technically still being alive in the NFC East crawl, I should say, once Martin is able to go. But get your votes in here. What do you want to do? Do you want to sit Zack Martin for the rest of the year? Type Y for yes, or you can type in your N for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Now, if you have not yet signed up and deposited with BetUS, the internet's #1 sports book, we got a new deal for you guys. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys125. That gets you a 125% deposit bonus when you put down at least $100. And if you are a new BetUS customer, we'll give you a Dak Prescott jersey. This one you see on screen here. Email us, cowboys@chatsports.com, if you have questions or once you sign up and deposit again, $100 minimum. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys125. Then email us, cowboys@chatsports.com, and we'll get you guys hooked up with a Dak Prescott jersey. Let's talk firing coaches, because that's what everyone wants to discuss. How about firing Mike Nolan? Snip, snap, we're back. 2 stars on this one. Things had been looking better under Nolan as the defensive coordinator, and then the fourth quarter against Washington happened, in which they allowed 21 points. Although I will make note, to be fair, 7 of those were the direct result of the offense, and an extra 7 were as a result of, the bad fake punt. But the defense in the end did collapse. They could not stop the run whatsoever. The team had been showing growth, and I was like, okay, this is good. If this keeps up all season, you know what? They're going to be okay. They can keep Mike Nolan, and maybe they figured out the defense. But, look, he's drawing fire again, and I completely understand. In the totality of the season, which does factor in a disastrous start in which maybe you would have been better served firing him like week 7, this is not a good defense. Last in points per game. The total yards are, again, bottom 10. Pass defense has been okay. That's because you can't stop the run whatsoever. The takeaways have been better, but again, overall, it's not quite enough. So I'm letting you guys make the decision here. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. You want to fire Mike Nolan? Type F for fire, type K for keep. If you get that ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's go to Matt Patricia. How about hiring him? You fire Nolan, you bring in Matt Patricia? Yeah, I don't like this idea very much. 1 star on this one. At some level, change is change, and that's cool at all. But when looking at Patricia, he's not that good. He was fired after another blowout loss, and I bring this up because I've had a lot of people DM and comment it on my Twitter and on the YouTube channel as well. The Lions' biggest problem, though, was their defense, which is a problem when you were hired as head coach because your defense was good in New England. I genuinely wonder, was Matt Patricia just a product of the Patriots system? And we're all on board with Cowboys' defense is bad. You know what? I'd argue the Lions' defense is just as bad. Now, the points per game slightly favor the Cowboys. Again, because the offense had a lot of mistakes this year, especially without Dak Prescott. Total yards per game, the Cowboys' defense is actually better in that area. Passing defense, Cowboys better. Run defense favors the Lions. If you want to use DVOA, Football Outsiders nerd numbers, which I like quite a bit, it's actually slightly favoring the Cowboys. Not by much, but that factors in stuff like the offense turning the football over and, the Andy Dalton pick six against Washington. It factors in opponents too. So, best case, it's a neutral move. I am not all that interested in that one. Now, if the Cowboys make a move and fire Mike Nolan, which I will not stand in the way against, if that's what you guys want, okay, I get it. The defense is horrible. It's tough to really back Mike Nolan at this point. We'll break it down, and we'll break down replacements as well. We'll do everything you guys need this Cowboys offseason. Draft stuff, rumors, news, free agency, all of it. Daily videos. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe to the #1 Cowboys YouTube channel out there. Let's talk a little Dez Bryant, Cowboys-Ravens. Is a revenge game coming? I'm giving this 3 stars as opposed to 4, and it's fairly straightforward because I'm not sure the game gets played, or at least it's going to get played in the way that we are accustomed to. So if it gets played, 4 stars, but the Ravens are decimated by COVID, so maybe it's delayed or whatever. So look, Dez has officially signed to the Ravens 53-man roster after being on the practice squad the past couple of games. You telling me Dez doesn't want to throw up the X against his old team? He absolutely does. And you know what happens if the Ravens get the ball in the near the end zone with RG3, or maybe Lamar's back at that point? Jump ball fade Dez, like they'll call it 5 times until he scores. Like the Ravens are going to try and get Dez a touchdown in this game. Now, again, depends on the game getting played. As of right now, it's planned for Monday, a 5 p.m. Eastern time kick. That's 4 p.m. Central. We'll be live for it. But I think Dez, if the game gets played, is going to score. So get your votes in here. Is Dez going to get to throw up that X against his old team? Type 1 for yes, type 0 for no. I'm going to type in my 1. I think he's scoring against the Cowboys. Are you glad and the Cowboys glad to have paid Zeke and Jaylon Smith? 1 star, and I almost gave it the fake news, but I'm feeling nice today because it's Christmas time. Jerry Jones says Cowboys got no regrets paying Zeke and Jaylon. It was a good deal, and we're not going to readjust where we put our resources there. Okay, I think we have to be honest with these contract decisions here. Now Jerry keeps saying Zeke's the Cowboys' best player. No, he's not. It's fine. Elliott has not been the same player the past 2 seasons. And I gave it 1 star because on some level I think, the Cowboys are just trying to stay positive, that they're not going to publicly drag players. Of course not. But also, maybe Jerry feels that way because he's a run game truther. Look, Elliott, since he got paid, 482 carries, 2,000 yards. He's averaging 4.3 yards per carry. 7 touchdowns is awesome. He also fumbled the ball 9 times. Hasn't lost all of them, but he's fumbled it a lot. That's not good. You can't be paying one of the highest paid backs in the NFL and getting 4.3 yards per carry when the backup, Tony Pollard, who should be utilized more, by the way, because it'll probably make Zeke fresher and might lead to more big plays for Zeke, is averaging more yards per touch. So, look, I was okay with the Zeke extension because I like the way it was structured. You can move on in the near future, but I didn't think Zeke was going to fall off this quickly. That's a major problem for Zeke and for the Cowboys. As for Jaylon Smith, he's regressed. The past 2 years, I know the tackle stats are high. That's cool. But whenever there's a big play in the passing game that doesn't involve a corner, if it's a safety or a linebacker, it always feels like it's Jaylon Smith. And the sacks have dropped as well. And there was the report of Albert Breer saying the Cowboys looking to move on here. And you also got to factor in the positional value. Running backs and linebackers, it's not the most important players. As for Jaylon, look, I was wrong. I was wrong on the Jaylon Smith extension. When that deal got done, I was like, okay, cool. He had a great 2018. It was a below-market contract, but Jaylon's not been the same guy since then. And there are times it just looks like he's laboring to move in the same capacity. And I don't know what happened. Maybe 2018 was just a mirage, but you're not getting the production you hoped for out of Jaylon Smith, and that is troubling because I still like Jaylon the person, but the player has not lived up to what we all were hoping to see out of him since he signed that contract. Now let me know in the comments which you think is the worst contract, or the worst contract, I should say. S for Jaylon Smith, E for Ezekiel Elliott. I am very curious how you guys vote, so scroll on down, get your votes in. S for Jaylon Smith, Tom, or E for Ezekiel Elliott. Let's talk draft here briefly, because we'll talk plenty about it in the coming days and weeks and months. Micah Parsons, a no-brainer pick. 1 star. I think you can make a real argument that talent-wise, Micah Parsons would be the best player on the board for the Cowboys wherever they end up picking in round 1, factoring in the need at linebacker, because you do need a linebacker. And again, he's one of the best defensive prospects, and he's great versus the run, and he can blitz really freaking well, but the off-ball linebacker value is not that high, and I have coverage concerns, and I can't blitz my off-ball linebacker every single play. He's got to be in coverage sometimes. He didn't do a ton of that at Penn State. He just did some hook zones, and that's fine, but I don't know if I trust him against tight ends or backs in the flat and all of that, and I get it. Linebacker's a need, because Leighton Vander Esch's neck's a major concern, and Jaylon Smith might not be with the team next year, and Sean Lee's a free agent. Want him as a coach, by the way. And Parsons' production is awesome. I get it. 2019, he absolutely balled out. But you do remember who I just described more or less, right? Jaylon Smith. Pre-injury Jaylon Smith. And I come back in the end to the value of an off-ball linebacker. He'd be better than, I think he, at least long-term, would be better than some of the options you got right now. But I'm on team trade down, because I can trade down a couple spots, and I can still get one of the top defensive prospects, Gregory Rousseau from Miami, or maybe it ends up being Kwity Paye from Michigan, because he's had a pretty solid season. Parsons is your best off-ball linebacker, but I could take Xavier Collins in like round 2 and get similar-ish production and end up investing in a cornerback like a Caleb Farley or a Patrick Surtain or a Sean Wade. And also Parsons hasn't played at all this year, and that does worry me at least a little bit. Same too with Farley. If I trade down, and I move down from, let's say I'm picking 5 or wherever, and I move down to like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or heck even 11, and Parsons is still there, okay, I'm down to have that conversation. I think at that point it might be a no-brainer, but I think I keep coming back to the value of an off-ball linebacker. I think I'd rather take one of those corners, and I would definitely rather trade down. But this will be a discussion we revisit a lot, because I think the Cowboys are going to be drafting early in the 2021 NFL Draft.